Hi, my name is Randy, and today I'm going to be showing you how important the date of May 3rd of 2033 is, but in particular, just how important it is to the sports leagues, and it's quite phenomenal. Now, if you've seen my work previously, what I want to do is present a different timeline that's straight from a Christian website, just to settle into perspective a little better. And if you haven't seen my previous timeline, this is what I'm referring to, and you can pause and take a look. But I want to go over this briefly. At the beginning, you have the "you are here" where my cursor is at. That's pointing to the church age. And the general accepted belief is after the church age, you have the remaining 7 years of tribulation. You have 483 years already fulfilled and a remaining 7 to make it 490 years. And it's also accepted that it's split up into two halves of 3.5 years, with the latter part being Great Tribulation. And after that, you have the transition to the Millennial Kingdom. Now, this time frame also could be referred to as Daniel's 70th week, per the book of Daniel, or just 1 week, where a day is a year. Now, I don't have any comment on rapture or the second coming, because in large part what my work is about is interpreting what's being communicated to us. And when you look at the numerical scripture that we're living out, you find how interwoven it is into the fabric of this prophecy. And I'm going to go about showing you that. Now, just to recap briefly, the Bible quite literally gives us a date for prophecy. People just haven't figured it out yet. And it's via gematria. Now, in the New International Version, if you decode the entire text of the book of Revelation, you get a value of 532,033, like you see here below. And that reads like we would write the full date, May 3rd, 2033. And the book of Revelation and the book of Daniel often go hand in hand. And in the book of Daniel, there were 4 beasts that were prophesied. Obviously, the fourth being the last one. And the beast is just a king or a kingdom. But when you decode chapter 7, verse 23, where it describes the fourth beast in the King James Version and the New International Version, they both give you a mathematical value that reads like a date, May 3rd of 2033, and it's via prime number relationship. In the King James Version, you have 706, and the 706 prime number is 5,333, like we would write the date here in the States. And ultimately, in the New International Version, you get a value of 53,233, which is the date minus the 0. Now, to get started, what I'm going to do is take 5 NBA teams, and I'm going to establish a relationship with those jurisdictions with prophecy. Now, the first one is going to be the Toronto Raptors. The reason why they're significant is because Toronto, Canada, where they're from, has overlap in gematria with tribulation, as you see here in front of you. Again, the tribulation period is where the Antichrist rules, and that's where the mark of the beast is enforced. It's not, by coincidence that Kobe Bryant played his 666 NBA games against the Raptors where he scored 81 points, with Mark of the Beast carrying a value in gematria of 81 in the same cipher as Kobe Bryant's name. Now, Philadelphia is a very biblical city because it gets its name from the Bible. And what you see here below, the 76ers logo, is Revelation 3:7. It's about the church in Philadelphia. And in the lower box on the left, you have the Washington Wizards and the Chicago Bulls. And the man with the relationship with those jurisdictions is Mr. Obama, the man who has the numerical value of 666 in his name, who's in my timeline. And one of the most fascinating things about him that I just can't get over is that, there's 2 values in Revelation 13:18, which talks about, calculating the number of the beast. And those 2 numbers are 473 and 1229, and the most 2 important ciphers. And again, when he won the 56th presidential election, when he was declared victorious on November 4th, 2008, He was exactly 47 years and 3 months old, just like this value. And then he was sworn in on January 20th of 2009. The key digits 1229. The 0 doesn't mean anything in numerology. So again, upon his entrance to the world stage as president, you have a very improbable pairing of the two revelation numbers, but I'll digress on that. Now, the last one is the Philadelphia Warriors, or the San Francisco Warriors, are now the Golden State Warriors. They moved from Philadelphia to San Francisco for the 62-63 season. And obviously they have the same relationship that I spoke about with the Philadelphia 76ers. Now let's take a look at what they're doing in the NBA with these teams. So I'm going to start off with using 4 of the teams, and I'm going to exclude the Philadelphia Warriors or the Golden State Warriors. Now what you're looking at here in front of you is the head-to-head records between these teams. And I'm going to use the top picture for an example. On the very left, you have a number 68. That's the amount of head-to-head games they've had. And that's the date that they played this game. Those are the teams, the score. And at the end, you have their actual head-to-head record. Now, please keep in mind, when you talk about the date, May 3rd of 2033, there's 2 general ways to write it. Here in the States, we would write 5-3-33, and in most of the world, they would write 3-5-33. Now, as you can already see here, all these teams hit that mark, like the date, 33-35 or 35-33. Again, 35-33, 35-33. And in this case, the Sixers and the Bulls hit the exact date of how I would write it, 5-3-33. Now, if you want to look at it from the perspective of probability, what it is that if you take one of these teams against the 3 other teams, and each one against the other teams, and 2 out of the 3 opponents, they hit a head-to-head record just like the date. And you might have to take a moment to think about that. And when you take that into account, just the relationship of what I'm talking about with Revelation, and just the fact that over a span of 68 games, you would see this consistent pattern of a head-to-head record of 35-33. Now, on to the next one, I singled out the Golden State Warriors, who again are from Philadelphia, because they hit this mark in 3 out of the 4 possible opponents. They hit it against the Chicago Bulls. They hit it against the Baltimore Bullets, who soon moved to DC for the 74-75 season. And lastly, they hit it against the Syracuse Nationals, which is the old name for the Philadelphia 76ers. And that game was in 56. That's one of the earlier ones, but they moved to Philadelphia for the 63-64 season. And as far as the Raptors goes, which is the only remaining team out of the 5, they don't have enough games played against the Raptors yet to even hit that mark. So you can really see the improbability here. Now I'm going to step over to the NFL and show you how they do the same exact thing. And again, I'm using the same jurisdictions here. You have the Chicago Bears, the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco has always had a relationship with Philadelphia. And, they're named the 49ers. And Gematria, Revelation, and the most important cipher, Revelation equals 49, just like their name, 49ers. It's probably not by coincidence. And you have Philadelphia, and you have the Arizona Cardinals today, but they started off in Chicago. So you have Chicago, Philadelphia, and San Francisco. Now, in week 1 of this season, you had the 49ers and the Bears play. And the Bears won the game. And again, they made the head-to-head record 35 to 33, just like the date 3/5/33. And not to my surprise. Now, out of these four teams, the only teams head to head that had enough head to head games to reach this mark, because that's actually a lot of games for two teams to have together. The only teams that had enough to hit the mark but did not were the Bears and the Cardinals. But their series started in 1920 when the Chicago Bears with the, I don't know how to pronounce this, but this was their team name. And I believe by their 68th game, that was 1955, so a little too early possibly. And below you have the Eagles and the Cardinals. And if you review their record, it was back in 1981, but the Eagles beat the Cardinals, picking up their 33rd win against them all time, including playoffs. And again, that made the record 3/5 to 3/3, with the Cardinals having 35 wins already. So you look at all that and you look at the improbability of it, and it clearly demonstrates the significance of the date that the Bible, again, quite literally gives us. So that's all I have for today. I thank you for listening. If you have any questions or anything, or if I was unclear on anything, please ask. If not, I hope everyone has a wonderful day.